No, of course not. Go right ahead.
Yeah, anybody who's interested can just dial area code 213-393-9405. I'll repeat that, 213-393-9405, and they can get all the necessary information.
Well, let me add that on Saturday the 18th, Andrija, we're doing a seminar at a Marriott Hotel at LAX, and on the Sunday, the following day, is an intensive in which he gets into such deep things we understand as healing, psychic surgery, earth changes, UFOs, irregular. Andrija, you never run out of things.
Talk about all of these things?
Yes, that and a few more things.
I can imagine.
Things that you can't easily get into print, but you can say because we can still speak freely in this country.
Well, I'm real curious about your latest research or information on UFOs and UFO communications.
Let me just put it very simply. For some 33 years now, I've been in contact with some kind of advanced extraterrestrials. I've written a little bit about it, not too much, who are known as the Nine. And the Nine seem to pop through occasionally. It's not a regular thing. Once there was a lapse of about 18 years between communications. And the communications, just so you understand, come in a number of different ways. They've come through several channels, human beings. The second mode is they seem to like to take over radio, telephone, television, usual kind of electronic modes of communication that we use, or even electronic typewriters.
Would they like to be a guest on my show?
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be something? I'll have to ask them.
All right.
Of course, I want you to understand they have no form. They're like pure space. You were speaking about interdimensional stuff. Anyway, I don't think you'd have... anyway, in person they wouldn't do well, but they could take over and gimmick your system. That would be okay. Anyway, that's the background.
I've got engineers that do that.
Yes, right. And they're very concerned about man's incredible power, nuclear energy and that sort of thing, and the ELF, and also somewhat low state of development in high political office amongst people who have control of these kind of systems.
Seems to be upside down, doesn't it?
Pardon?
It seems to be upside down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's, the way things are. And I've written about this in several books. There's one called Prelude to the Landing on Planet Earth, which goes into a lot of this stuff in detail. So recently had a meeting in the group I work with scattered around the world. We met in Austria this time about 10 days ago, and we got an update on the planetary situation. And I must say, it's not very encouraging, because what it amounts to is that the planet is under heavy stress by starvation and flood and drought and, extremes of every natural thing you can think of, volcanoes and earthquakes and so on. And the record bears that out. That's no mystery. And they made a kind of a plea, and I'm passing it on for people to somehow straighten out their outlook on life and their consciousness and, try to be loving and helpful not only to other human beings but to animals on the planet Earth, and try to stop this ravage of the planet that's going on. So that's kind of the latest message that I'm very sincere about, and really would like to have people think about it seriously.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and we, a little bit later, at about 10:30, are going to take a break in what we're doing to talk about an effort that kind of follows in that line that's going on. It's called A Million Minutes for Peace.
Yes, that's the kind of idea that should be put in effect.
They'll have a huge gathering at the Hollywood Bowl from 2 to 4 on October 18th.
Wonderful.
There will be a number of people there.
Yeah.
And it's very hard, Andrija, I think, for a lot of people to say that if you would just pledge a minute of your thoughts for peace, that you can do something viable. But I think we know that a thought can do something extremely viable, being that it's in the virtual state.
Yes.
It is a thing. It is energy.
Also, we know from a lot of unusual people on the planet now, and I mentioned Peter Herkus as another one, besides Uri Geller and a few others, their thoughts out actions at a distance that are quite incredible. Just for a small example, Uri Geller recently, a week ago, published a book about what he's been doing the last 10 years, and in that book he revealed something which I've known for 14 years, that most of his work has really been in psychic warfare for the Israeli government, particularly the army. And that's been his secret life. And all this other stuff, the public stuff, and arguing with Randy and so on, is just a cover to make him look like an idiot. But when you understand some of the things that people like that can do, it is incredibly awe-inspiring, and everybody should feel that they have the capability of doing it. Therefore, an event like you're talking about for October 18th is what should be done all over the planet. People have incredible power that they don't realize.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
I certainly am going to be a part of it. And you're going to be in town. Maybe I can drag you down there and get you up on the stage at the Hollywood Bowl.
Absolutely. Love to come.
And get all of our friends out
Yes,
there.
we must.
I have a bunch of friends that are beginning to stack up on the telephone lines that want to talk to you.
Okay, let them roll.
All right, let them roll. Let me give the numbers here. In Los Angeles, a holistic kind of life that we should be living, the reality of the UFO. And I'll get him to touch for just a moment on the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, if he will, when we return on Talk Radio 79. He's on our conference line from the East Coast, and in studio with me is Alan Vaughn. Andrija, tell us a little bit about the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. We'll be doing a show next week on that with Nick Messerino.
Okay. I've worked with Miss Mitchell Hedges, who lives in Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada, for about the last 6 years. Whenever I get a chance, I go up there and continue my studies of the crystal skull. Now, basically, the skull has been studied by a lot of scientists. For example, Hewlett-Packard in California had the skull for about 6 years. Miss Mitchell Hedges is very generous about loaning the skull to people who are serious about studying it.
Mm-hmm.
And the main finding that they made was that they could not find any signs of tool marks on it. In other words, they don't know how it was fabricated.
We can't do it with our best technology.
No, we cannot do it. And that's one point. So since you can't find tool marks and so on, you can't really date it. So nobody knows how old it is.